It's strange, isn't it? How life can change so quickly. How everything you thought was ordinary can twist and contort before you even have time to understand. One moment, I was just an ordinary girl moving through an ordinary life. And the next, I found myself in a place full of shadows and secrets. Secrets that weren't meant for someone like me. And yet, somehow, I felt as if I was meant to be here. As if this mansion had been waiting for me all along. But while I was busy trying to understand what was happening to me, something else was stirring in the darkness. Something far more powerful. I didn't know it at the time, but he was thinking of me too. The one they call Master. The one I could never forget, no matter how hard I tried. After that strange, haunting night, his presence lingered in my mind. But what I didn't know was that I had made an impression on him as well. He was in his tower that night, the highest part of the mansion, where the clock's gears ticked away the time, keeping the rhythm of the shadows that haunted these halls. I imagine him sitting there, his pale skin gleaming in the moonlight, staring out into the night. They say he's lived for centuries, his power unmatched. But there, alone in the darkness, he wasn't invincible. Not tonight. I was in his mind, my face, my presence, lingering like an echo he couldn't shake. Why? That was the question he couldn't stop asking himself. Why did the darkness inside him grow still when I was near? He had fought the hunger, the craving for blood that gnawed at him from the inside. But this was something new. Something far more dangerous than his need for blood. And I felt it too. That strange pull, like an invisible thread binding us together, despite the danger, despite the centuries that separated us. I could feel it as surely as I could feel my own breath. But I didn't understand it. Not yet. And neither did he. He needed answers. He wasn't the kind of man, creature, that could let something like this go unexplored. So he decided to find out who I really was. And for that, he needed someone he trusted. Someone who could move through the world unseen, unnoticed. He sent Harman. Harman was his closest friend, though in the world of vampires, friendship is something more complicated. Harman was powerful in his own right, though not quite as powerful as the Master. He was cunning, a shadow in the night, with eyes that saw more than they let on. He was to come close, to observe, to learn everything he could about me. He would blend into the world, slip through the cracks, unnoticed, but always watching. I didn't know it then, but Harman was there, in the background, waiting. He must have arrived that very night. As I slept in my bed, trying to make sense of the strange dreams and the darkness that clung to me, Harman was already making his way through the mansion's corridors. But he wouldn't come to me directly. No, he was too careful for that. Instead, he started with the staff. Mrs. Reynolds, the housekeeper, was his first target. She's loyal, guarded. She would never speak openly to a stranger, but Harman wasn't just any stranger. He knew how to ask the right questions, how to slip into a conversation without raising suspicion. In the dim light of the hallway, I imagine them standing there, her stiff and formal, him smiling, polite, but with that glint in his eye that said he already knew more than she wanted him to. It didn't take him long to piece together my story. The staff didn't know much, but it was enough for Harman to get a sense of who I was. My background, my family, my history. But there was something more. Something even he wasn't expecting. A connection. A tie to the mansion. To the Master himself. Harman dug deeper, his curiosity growing with every passing moment. He found it in the library. An old, dusty tome. Its pages yellowed with age. Its ink faded. He wasn't looking for it specifically, but it was there, hidden in plain sight. My name. or at least a name connected to me, written in ancient ink, part of a lineage long forgotten by the world, but not by the shadows that ruled this place. What he found disturbed him. He hadn't expected this. There was more to me than even I knew. Harman had stumbled upon something that could explain why the master felt that pull toward me, why I was different from the others who had come before. But he didn't tell the master. Not yet. He needed more information. He needed to understand what it meant before he revealed the truth. And I was oblivious to it all. I was walking through the garden that evening, trying to clear my head, to make sense of the strange sensations that kept pulling me back to the mansion. To him. The wind was soft, the sky darkening as the last rays of the sun disappeared behind the trees. I paused for a moment, standing still in the fading light. And that's when I felt it. Someone was watching me. I couldn't see anyone, but the feeling was undeniable. The air felt thicker, as if I wasn't alone, though the garden was empty. My heart raced, but I stood still, listening to the silence, to the shadows. Something was drawing me closer, pulling me into the darkness, step by step, whether I wanted it or not. And that's when I realized this wasn't just about me anymore. It never had been. This was his story too, the master's story. And whatever it was that bound us together, whatever darkness lay between us, it was only just beginning.